Joan Boscà Almogáver was a Spanish poet who incorporated hendecasyllable verses into a Spanish biography. The exact date of birth for Boscà is unclear, but there is a consensus that he was born anywhere between 1487 and 1492. Boscà was born in Barcelona and was one of 3 children. His father, Joan Valentí Boscà, was a public official, and his mother was named Violante Almogàver. Boscà's father died in 1492. Around 1507, Boscà left to live in the court of Fernando and Isabel, where he was a student of Lucio Maranello Siculo from Visione, Italy, who taught him the skill of translating Italian love poetry, Latin, and Greek lyrics into Spanish. Maranello's teachings evidence the close cultural interactions that existed between Spain and Italy and helped to develop the talent of Boscà. By 1522, Joan Boscà was working as a tutor to Fernando Álvarez de Toledo, Duke of Alba. In this same year, he participated with Garcilaso de la Vega in giving naval assistance to the Isle of Rhodes during a Turkish invasion. Boscà fought against the Turks again in 1532 with Álvarez de Toledo and Charles I in Vienna. During this period, Boscà had made serious progress in his mastery of verse in the Italian style. Boscà is most famous for the incorporation of hendecasyllable verses into Spanish, although he was preceded by Inigo López de Mendoza, who wrote 42 sonnets in the Italian style. Boscà was one of the first people to use the present-day structures of the sonnet in Castilian. His originality and open-minded nature made him an innovator, and his use of hendecasyllabic verse gave his poetry a distinctly creative flair that allowed him to emphasize the emotions and significance of each poem. In the 1520s he came under the influence of Andrea Navaggero, the Venetian ambassador to Spain. It is because of Navaggero's persuasion that Boscà abandoned the traditional 8-syllable verses of Spanish poetry. Boscà was also influenced by another Italian ambassador named Count Baldassare Castiglione. Boscà was urged by Castiglione and Garcilaso to translate the ambassador's Il Cortegiano into Spanish, which was published on April 2, 1534 to great success. With Boscà's fame came great controversy, because he constantly had to combat with those who preferred the old style of poetry over the new. In 1539, he married Ana Gironda Reboledo of Valencia and fathered 3 daughters. Boscà died on September 21, 1542 after becoming ill in Perpignan, while he was preparing some of his poetry for publication. Works. Joan Boscà's most famous works appear in Las Obras de Boscà y algunas de Garcilaso de la Vega repartidas en 4 libros. In Volume 3, this includes Leandro y Hero, based on an ancient Greek fable, and Ottava Rima. A stanza of Ottava Rima reads, Amor es todo cuanto aquí se trata, love is everything treated here, es la sazón del tiempo enamorada, it is love's season, todo mejor d'amor mata, all dies of love, girls for love, sin amor no veréis ni una pisada, without love you'll see hardly a footstep, d'amors se negocia y se barata, with love you trade and barter. Toda la tierra en esto es ocupada, the entire world is thus occupied. Si ves bullir de un árbol una hoya, if a tree's leaf buds diréis que amor aquilo cheo es antojo, you will say that love tickles your desire. Later reputation. Boscà's and his close friend Garcilaso de la Vega are seen as very influential in the poetry of the Spanish Renaissance. Boscà was the first poet to introduce the Italian meters to Spain. Boscà's poems were published after his death by his widow around 1543. The collection proved popular between 1543 and 1597. 21 editions were printed throughout Europe. While the collection was supposed to focus mainly on his poetry, Boscà was soon overshadowed by his friend Garcilaso. In contrast to Garcilaso, who explored several genres and themes in the new Italian style, Boscà wrote mostly about love. He has been compared to Fray Luis de Leon, a poet and professor of the 16th century, who also enjoyed the process of translating and writing poetry. One of his works, O Sombra, was adapted into a song by the British rock band Electrolane in 2004.